Signs, signs everywhere, signs. Signs for your business and signs for your ride. SignBros is the place where we make your signs.
Hello.
There you go.
Good morning.
Such
We
a
have
surprise,
with us today Mr. Nacho Garcia. We are the SignBroCast. Welcome to our show. Thank you, Nacho, for joining us.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Good to have you, man. We talked yesterday.
Yeah.
You were one of the people that we called and got a hold of like the next day, and you were like ready for it. So we appreciate you coming out.
Yeah. We're trying something different. You can
Yes.
see the layout's a little bit different. Mr. Nacho Garcia is a how would you describe
Is it a
yourself?
caricaturist?
Artist. I do serious portraits too.
Gotcha.
I do funny cartoons.
Yes.
Portraits. Paintings of anything. Animals, landscapes. Since I retired from the newspaper, I had to just for extra little side income.
Sure.
I do. I don't know if I should say this, but I call myself the prostitute of art. I'll do anything for money.
As long as it involves art.
I'll do anything for money.
And they probably
art-wise.
people seen even if they might not recognize your face, they probably seen your work around town because you do this. You've been doing this for how many years?
Well, I was at the newspaper El Paso Times for 17 and a half years.
What did you do with the El Paso Times?
The editorial cartoons. I'd poke fun at the politicians. I would always, mayors are my
Cartoon
target.
of the day and stuff.
Yeah. In fact, when Oscar Leeser was first mayor, you probably seen him where he had a boxing ring and all the city reps were fighting and wrestling. And he was the referee, but he says, well, I've lost control. And then I have a little gecko, and he'd always make a little remark, where's the city manager?
Oh, yeah.
And then the other one would say, he's out counting his money. He had just gotten a raise.
Gotcha.
So, it's kind of
Little
humor.
pokes here and there.
Yeah,
Pokes here and
when
there.
you're on the receiving end, it doesn't seem to be that harmless. But it's funny to everybody else.
Yeah.
But
And it's funny, to me, and my wife won't agree with me, but humor is sadistic. Mm-hmm. It's always at the expense of somebody else. You've seen those failed videos?
oh yeah,
Somebody getting hurt? You laugh at it. Sure. The guy might have gotten hurt.
True.
But we laugh. We laugh at other people's
yeah.
predicament.
And when we get hurt, we wouldn't post the videos at all.
No,
way.
no.
Not us.
But your competitors might just, you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Depending on what side of the fence you're on.
Gotcha. And he's contracted for the day he's going to be doing a caricature of us three as he interviews. So it'll be
We'll
interesting.
reveal it at the end.
And reveal at the end. But when it comes to editorial cartoons, Nacho, are you at liberty to express your opinion, or do they kind of tell you?
Yeah, at the newspaper, they kind of hinted they want to see, or if there's some news during that week or that month, they said, can you come up with 4 or 5 different sketches, your ideas? So I had to come up with 3 or 4 different ideas,
Wow. that's a
submit
lot of
it,
drawing.
and then they'd all vote. Oh, that one, let's do that.
Gotcha.
And that was your ideas, what to say in the little bubbles and all
Yeah,
that?
just about.
nice.
Wow.
Just about.
So you not only had the task of drawing something relative, but you had to find the humor in it too.
You got to find the humor.
Wow.
You got to do the pencil and then the remarks. Once in a while, they'll edit a little remark or something.
Sure.
If they think.
Did you?
And they told me who to keep away from.
Oh,
I thought
really?
they might- but you
Okay.
can't get sued. In editorial cartoons, sky's the limit.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's the thing with like cartoons and drawings and stuff, man. Those you see some cartoons that go on these days, and they say all kinds of crazy stuff. But it's okay because it's just a cartoon.
But remember what
was-
happened when the guy did a cartoon? I think
A
it was
Muslim one or something.
Muslim. He was
yeah.
almost hunted down. By the
Yeah.
Muslims. They were ready to get him.
Wow.
That's what I was going to ask you. Are you allowed to put your own agenda on there, or do you have to kind of stay right down the middle as far as political?
Like I said, I throw 4 or 5 different. Some of them, I'm
some
surprised
left,
they
some
picked. They said,
right.
"Yeah, go ahead, that's fine, do that one."
Gotcha.
But I don't want to mention names.
Sure.
Can I mention names?
Totally
whatever
at
you
you.
want.
Totally
There's a
at you.
lady, a lawyer in town that used to be, well, what should I say? She attracted some attention and she did some stuff that shit. So I would try to mention her name and they said, no, She'll take us to court. But you know, I was talking to a lawyer, and he says, no, editorial cartoons
Yeah.
are immune because it's now if it was a photograph, and then
Wow.
something, and then you
It's
repeated something she
It's
said.
like a freedom of speech, right?
Yeah.
It's your
It's a
way
form of
yeah,
freedom of
writing,
speech.
yeah.
Yeah.
And and all the time that I was there, 17 years, I've only gotten maybe 2 or 3.
Death threats.
Not really death threats, but one guy insulted me. It was just,
Sure.
get your facts straight, you blah blah blah.
Yeah.
beep,
Blah
beep,
blah
beep,
blah blah blah.
beep. And it was because I think somebody's in the family there didn't like what I put.
Gotcha.
And it was the time they had this big controversial. What do they call it? They had a federal FBI came in. They found a lot of politicians that were taking money under the table.
Wow.
And one guy was a former policeman that went to the school board, and he found his son a job. In other words, it was just nepotism, right? Finding his son a job, and it was part of the it was all like they threw a net out there, and they brought in. I don't know if you guys
Wow.
remember that.
No.
They brought in a lot of politicians, a lot of judges, a lot.
Wow.
So
that were
when you hear
doing-
those
were bribing.
stories, your mind is already
Yeah, I'm
thinking
forgotten
about
a
a
lot.
cartoon.
I've forgotten a lot of it, but I remember. Well, so I'm not going to mention names.
Yeah.
But one guy was hinted being a puppet master. He was donating money to these incoming city managers, and hopes to get some votes
Of
for them.
course, that's how it
that's
works.
part of the game.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And they called him the puppet master because he said, "Oh, look, he donated a lot of money to this
Wow.
guy. He got elected. And now he's got to dance to his music." Well, they found him in cahoots with a lot of stuff, and he went to prison.
Wow. So that was a
was a good
If I tell you the
cartoon.
name, you probably know who it is, but I can't say it.
Gotcha.
Well, you can tell us after.
Okay.
We can guarantee your safety.
That was a good cartoon, I bet.
Yeah. That's great ideas for you. I bet your mind is just going and drawing. And
Yeah,
thinking all
yeah.
these
That's
ideas
what I
and-
wanted. I wanted the news. You've been around El Paso here for a long time, have you?
We've been here for
25
about
years?
close to 25 years.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no?
yeah.
Yeah, it's about the time I was coming in to the newspaper. I was in advertising first. I did little storyboards, whatever. Like let's say some agency came and tried to sell you a commercial.
Yeah.
Well, I would do storyboards, sketches of how the commercial with little, and then they would present it to you on a blackboard,
Wow.
mounted like that, and then they said, "Yeah, let's do that commercial," and you would buy it. I don't know how they do it now with a computer. I'm sure they set up little storyboards or something. But I was here before the computers came in, so I was in my heyday. We had a
Yeah.
sketch of this and that, but now with a computer, it's taking a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And but I was in advertising, and then I was working for Tony Lama for 10 years, and Tony Lama was bought by Justin Boots out of Fort Worth.
Yeah.
So I was left here high and dry. So I did a lot of freelance for a lot of little agencies. And then the newspaper, one day I saw a little box there, and there it said, if you want to submit a cartoon or a story, blah, blah. So I submitted a little cartoon, and they liked it. And they started to call me, hey, you want to do another one? Yeah. Then they started paying me. And then when they said, we have an opening here, and I had never been in journalism. It was okay. I said, but I'm not used to. He said, no, we'll teach you everything. You do your editorials, and then we'll teach you how to do the graphs and the charts and the maps, and you'll be well-rounded and all that stuff. Okay, and that turned out to be one of the best things I did.
Wow.
I got into.
Were you able to work from home, or would you have? did
No,
you
I
have
went
an
down
op-
there downtown.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
You had an
we had an
office at home.
office. We had about 2 other artists. And,
Oh, those 2 other artists.
yeah, there were 2
Oh,
other
wow.
artists. There was at all times there was at least 3 artists.
Wow.
And they kept us busy, but then when circulation started falling and dumbling, that's when
Yeah.
the newspaper started.
That's probably when the internet came along and
exactly.
Yeah, when
everybody
you
was
started
getting their
going
news,
digital,
getting their
social
news on the
media,
cell
yeah.
phone.
Yeah.
The cell phone was where their news was, and everybody's suffering in one way or another because of the computer and the cell phone.
yeah.
Radio, TV
Oh, yeah.
are all fighting to get in there, and that's what the computer and the cell phone has done. And in fact, my daughter's a teacher, and I told her someday they're not going to need teachers. It's going to be a monitor of the kids, and they're doing it now.
Wow.
And I said, I didn't want to
You
predict
predicted it.
Yeah, I didn't realize that there was a pandemic coming.
Nacho the prophet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I predict
Nacho
everything. You're not going to need actors, CG, computer. They can grab John Wayne and do a movie with it.
Oh, yeah.
His image. They're not going to need actors anymore. Everybody's job is in jeopardy, unless you join the computer age.
Yeah.
It's gonna eat your lunch.
Wow.
And now the computer hackers are in there, and they're getting into your private.
Yeah.
It's a monster. It's
is.
going to turn on you.
Absolutely.
I'm the old man. Remember that bomber, the bomber,
The Unabomber?
He said, "Industrialization, technology is the doom," and I think it's
happening.
Snake's head's coming. Oh, and I'm getting philosophical. I'm an old man, so it's coming back.
Yeah.
and we don't find a way.
I was listening to an interview the other day of some guy that was behind a lot of the social media, Facebook stuff, one of the originators of it, and he was talking about what they do to get people just to the likes, and he was talking about like on Facebook when they added the like, and people just grabbing it up and eating it up, and they do things to just keep you there. And videos that you watch one video and then that's connected to another video that you may like, and you just keep on watching. He says that he does not touch social media right now because it's taking over.
Well,
it's
even
taking over.
the internet emails, you see a link they want you to go to.
Oh, yeah.
I've hit it, and then I have a little security. Nope,
pop up.
Don't do it, Nacho.
Don't, and it's good. It warns me. And then sometimes I've missed it, and they'll show virus. Beep beep. I pick that up.
Yeah.
And so you got to be careful.
Yeah. So, are you from El Paso? Tell us about your.
that was
Let's
my
go way
question.
back. Let's go way back, man.
Born and raised here. My dad was a policeman,
Okay.
Oh, nice.
and my mom during World War II helped run Achilles Studio. Achilles Gonzalez. Do you guys know him?
No.
He had Achilles Photo Studio. He was drafted in World War II. He left two women behind, my mom, and they ran it until he came back from the war.
Wow.
So she was a photographer.
Gotcha.
And this is the old photography when they had these big wooden boxes. And
Yeah. Is that the one we have to do the fire or not?
No,
that
not
old?
that far. Not that far. So she's telling me she even brought some old negatives that she would retouch. I said, that's all gone. Yeah. I told her it's changed. So, okay, she was into photography and art. I think that's where I picked up some of it. And then my dad, okay, I want to go back to my dad's, my great-grandfather, they're all from San Elizario.
Okay.
Okay. He was county commissioner, sheriff. His son was mayor. That was my grandfather. When the city, the county seat was in San Eli back in the 1850s, and when the railroad came to El Paso in 1880, El Paso boomed. The railroad brought a lot of people.
Yeah.
And it overpopulated this area, and they took the county seat from San Eli. And San Eli stayed a little
Gotcha.
county village there.
Town, yeah.
And so during the Salt Wars, I don't know if you remember the Salt Wars. Does this ring a bell? The Salt Wars.
No.
I've heard of it.
Okay, there's a salt bed near the Guadalupe Pass, way up there.
That's going out towards Carlsbad, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
headed towards it. And people would go scrape out salt. It was used to preserve and stuff like that. Well, some guy from New York came down here and said he bought it. He showed a deed. I'm charging everybody to come and get salt.
Wow.
And the Mexican farmers and all that, they protested. It's like, wait a minute, it's always been free. It's part of the land there, which they believe is like the Indians. Indians, we can't own a piece of the earth.
Yeah.
No, but somehow the white man came in and said, yeah, you bought that land. Here's your deed. You own that. Well, there was a big fight. And so the Texas Rangers recruited my great-grandfather, Gregorio Nacho Garcia. And he headed a force to police the fighting there.
Wow.
And he got death threats and stuff like that. And some people were shot in the streets and all
Wow.
that.
And this is back in
I'm going to say 1850, 50s, mid 1800s.
Wow.
So he was shot by they policed the Apaches were they were stealing horses and cattle and all that. So they would run them into the mountains, or they would capture them, all that. He was shot with an arrow. My great grandfather.
Wow.
And the arm got infected. There was no penicillin then.
Wow.
So he lingered
Infection.
in the bed for about a month, and then he died.
Mm.
Well, his son was Gregorio II. He became mayor, and then
That's your grandfather.
that's my grandfather. And so he was running the town and all that stuff. Then his wife died. So he would travel to all over West Texas. And when he got into Ojinaga, he fell in love with a Mexican woman, my grandmother. So his second, because I get a lot of Garcias that said, "Oh, Gregorio." Well, I said, "Okay, I'm from the second family," because, and they both had like 10 children. So there's so many Garcias. That's why there's a whole generation that I don't know. And then I came from the second wife. Her name was Maria Vasquez. She was from Ojinaga. He married her. When he brought her back to San Nazario, well, they ostracized him because she's bringing an outsider.
Uh-huh.
And when you have a small town,
Everybody knows.
so he started to get kind of like friction. So he said, "Let's leave." So he went into Clint, opened a store. Still, it got around. He shouldn't, brother. So then he just sold everything, came to El Paso, joined the police force at almost 63, 64 years old.
Wow.
And he could pass for 40, 50, whatever. And so he was a policeman there. And then coming down, to make a long story short, his two sons, my uncle and my dad, they came in World War II. My dad was in the B-17s, the flying fortresses. And he was a waist gunner. And he flew over Germany, and they bombed and all that. He came back, and all of a sudden, all these guys are here looking for jobs, right? In fact, half of my mom's family went to California. They said, "There are no jobs." Mm-hmm. And then one of the uncles said, "Hey, there's work over here." And so they went to California. But my dad's side, they stayed here, and they all got into different things. But he said, "Oh, wait a minute, our dad was a policeman. Let's join the police force." So they joined the police force, my uncle and my dad. This was a year before I was born. We're talking about like 1946, right after the war, post-war. I'm a post-war baby. 46. My parents got married in 46. 47, I come along, and we're living in the central El Paso. Well, there was no east and very little west.
Yeah.
It was all central.
All desert.
On Nevada Street. I think my mom
Okay.
told me they had a little house there, and so I grew up there, and then we moved around Pershing Street, but then we moved to the Lower Valley near Delta and all that. And I went to Henderson. I went to Burgess. Graduated from Burgess in '65.
okay.
In fact, I was a sophomore when Kennedy was assassinated.
Wow.
And I
Oh, so
remember,
that's
I remember we were coming
vivid
from
in your
lunch.
memory.
Yeah, I was coming from lunch, and they had the intercom, and they said, "President Kennedy has been shot in Dallas," and everybody couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then later on, he died. So they said, "Okay, school will be let out early. The buses had not been notified yet, so if you want to wait for the buses, they'll come." So we looked at some buddies. Let's walk, and we were about maybe a mile or two. Then we walked through where the refineries were, down to Glenwood, all that. There was nothing there. It was desert. And but we got there, and I remember there was nothing. The TVs had shut down regular programming and played solemn music because of Kennedy and all that. Everything changed.
Wow.
The whole world changed. We lost our innocence then.
Yeah.
Okay, then I graduated in 65, went into, in 66, 65, I went to Texas Western. There was no UTEP.
Yeah.
Texas Western. I watched the 66 Miners win
Oh,
the
nice.
NCAA.
Yeah.
You
Were
watched
you
it
at?
on-
Were you, well, it was. It was in El
I would
Paso.
go some of their games, home games, but after they went so high, they were in Maryland, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Wow.
We watched it on TV. I was working at a gas station and going to Texas Western in the morning, and then I'd go pump gas, and we had a little TV, and we watched the game and everything. I remember when the night they won, People were going crazy.
Oh, I bet.
They had a bonfire. They had a bonfire in the middle of university. Well, before it was university. And it's so funny. Everybody said, who's Texas Western?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, the region said, UT. And Austin said, hey, you want to join our family?
Okay.
All of a sudden, nobody knew, but all of a sudden, first Texas team. And all of a sudden, we became UT El Paso.
UT El Paso.
The next year.
It was the following year that
The
happened?
following year.
Oh, wow.
Fast.
I did not know that. I thought it was
I thought
In
it
fact, I
was
wish
in
I
the
had
70s or
kept.
something.
I wish I had kept this sweatshirt that said Texas Western.
Yeah.
My mom gave them away and all that, but now I regret it.
Maybe we can find some at Savers. You don't think they're at Savers?
There might be.
That's interesting. Wow.
There was a guy, Joe Gomez, he's a big backer, and he's got a museum of all that stuff. In fact, I did a mural. If you go down Mesa and Robinson before the Walgreens, there's a bar called Spirit of '66.
Yeah.
You've seen it?
Well, I think they reopened another one
Oh, really?
called Spirit of 60. This is a few years ago.
Okay. If you go to that one there in Mesa, I hope they still have it. On the wall, I painted the Haskins and the trophy. That,
nice.
It's a mural that the guy called me. He says, "Can you do that on this?" Because I heard that you were part of that '66. I said, "Yeah, sure, I'll do it."
That's cool.
And so I saw the guys go all the way. Then in 70 or 71, I graduated. When I was ready to graduate, I said, "Oh, I got to get into something with art." So my mom said, "Go to the Popular." The Popular used to be a big department store downtown.
I remember the Popular. Yeah.
And I went to the 7th floor, and they have an advertising department. And I showed them some drawings and all that. And Mr. Hammond was the boss. I remember him now. He said, "Oh, that's nice, but can you do pencil layouts? Can you do?" And that time, all layouts were done in pencil on a piece of paper with a T-square and a triangle. You would do everything. And so I knew he didn't sound too excited about it. So then when I went home, my mom says, "Hicks Tejeda is a good friend of the family, and he's in charge of all the delivery trucks on Durazno. Let me give him a call." So remember this: it's who you know, not what you know. But I didn't want to do that. My mom said, "Yeah, let me call." Sent a letter the next couple of days. Said, "Nacho, come on down." The Popular.
Yeah, the Popular. Oh, the Popular. Oh,
yeah,
nice.
yeah.
For the art
Because
stuff.
he had been with the Popular like 30 some odd years. Hicks Tejeda. Still remember. There have been a lot of people who had been there for like 30, 35 years. Well, when you have somebody out there, you carry a lot of weight. So that's how I got in.
Nice.
And that was my first introduction to advertising, layouts, and all that stuff. All done in triangles, T-squares, pencils. No computers.
Wow.
This
Yeah,
is
no.
this is
This is-
66 or 67.
Wow.
That was your
67.
training.
Yeah.
In fact, 67 I turned.
Well, that's the basics. That's the whole basics foundations of art. I remember my dad. We got into the sign industry because my dad used to do hand painted signs. A long time ago.
Did
and
you
it was
guys
all
do?
lines.
Did you guys do pencil layouts? and all that?
Pencil. Well, he would do like the layouts.
He would sketch it out in pencil.
Yeah.
And then
But lines, boom, lines. Everything was lines.
Well,
It's the
then
basics.
when I got my degree, it was in fine arts. There was no graphic arts. There was no commercial art. It was just fine arts. So I could do sculpture. I could do jewelry for you. I could do paintings. But how can I get a job for that?
Yeah.
Right there. Isn't it? So the applied knowledge was the important thing. Then my dad got me into famous artist course. It's a correspondence in the mail. And at that time, there was real famous artists, Norman Rockwell, Albert Dorn. They would be your instructor. You would mail, they would give you 3 volumes each year. And in each volume, you'd read it, the whole chapter, and at the end is your lesson and your test. Then you mail it in.
Wow.
They would put a little overlay, visualizing sheet, and they would show you what you did. You get a B or a C from a famous artist.
Yeah.
So I learned how to draw drapery, clothing, things I didn't learn at UTEP.
Yeah.
He was an old professor with a coffee cup and look at you. Very good, very good. That's it.
That's it. Yeah.
No, in fact, they didn't know any more than I did. So this was great. I thank my dad because he put out $700 to get that.
Wow.
And
It's
this
a
was
correspondent. Back in 65, 66.
So $400 was a lot of money. That was a huge investment for you.
Yeah, my mom told me, says he took money out of the bank.
Oh, wow.
So I have to thank him for that. And then he knew that I had some kind of, he said, no, he needs a boost. So then I learned commercial art, commercial illustration, sketching and all that from them. And then when I went to the Popular, I learned to do actual basement layouts with a copy and all that stuff. And then the copywriters would fill in where you want copy, and then they'd send it to the newspaper. They would do a proof. When they brought back, it was nothing but a giant Xerox paper of the ad. I was a young guy. I was just beginning, so I was the guy that brought proofs to the buyers in each floor of the Popular, like the shoe department at Mr. Zweifach. I remember him. Mr. Goldberg was in the basement. I'd bring him proofs, and they would check the ad, how it would appear, and they would make corrections and sign it, brought it back to me, and then I'd call the dispatch. They had boys that would come with little bags and pick up the proofs, go back to the newspaper. They had a huge composing room, which was unionized. It was a big union at that time. In fact, I made the mistake of walking in through these doors, and then I brought them some artwork that had just come later, and I said, I'm looking for this ad, and then they look at me, are you in the union? No. Get out.
Wow.
And I remember this old man with a big pipe. Out of here. Talk to the dispatch boys, and then they'll bring it to us. Everybody had a little.
They had their people.
Yeah. And I learned that the hard way. So I got familiar with that. Big union. I remember that, the newspaper. And then composing room. They all walked around with these pica rulers in their back pockets, smoking pipes and all that stuff. And while I was there, somebody noticed I could do some drawings. So this little advertising agency guy, he said, hey, let's talk, blah, blah, blah. So he offered me a job. I remember my mom would say, don't leave, nunca deja el dudoso para el seguro. In other words, don't go to the doubtful leaving the secure job. She thought the newspaper was big and all that. I said, but I've got to experiment. So I left and went with these guys. Scott Advertising. Okay, then I graduated, I got married, kids started. I was with them for years, and then I jumped around. I went from there, and then there used to be a company called Cashway, which was a home improvement, and they were trying to find their own art department. And they came to me. And,
Nice.
Do you want to come?
They came to you.
So I would do tabloids. Oh, I should have brought. I was going to bring some mechanicals. They call them mechanicals, and what it is amber lith. Each color was an amber lith or zipatone, and we learned how to do that. And then the Sun Shopper had a web press that could print out tabloids, and I started to work with them, and we had our own department at Cashway. They called it Allway. It was an advertising department within the store, and I did all my layouts and everything, my artwork. I used to draw wheelbarrows and all that, line drawings.
Wow.
And they were sent out to the homes.
Yeah.
If you had if you wanted a home improvement Cashway, and then buying fertilizer, buying anything you name it.
So all the little items you would have to sketch them out.
Most of them.
Most of them?
Most of them. Some companies that had logos and they had co-ops, they would send things. Hey, you need a nice art here, boop.
Use
but
this.
use our logo,
Yeah.
and we'll help you.
Yeah.
It's co-op.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they tell us the logos have to be that big and all that, and then so that's how they do it. And they probably do it now. Co-op.
But just on computers.
Computers, social media, maybe radio and TV. Well, not radio, but TV. You'll see sponsored by like you did here. Have you seen that where they have a press conference and the logos in the back?
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody's pitching their stuff.
Yeah.
And things have changed so much.
Yeah.
I haven't kept up. I'm on the computer and all that, but I don't have the latest
Programs and
programs
software
and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But when you would do like a cartoon, from the time you wrote, sketched out, would you do the whole thing, finalize, and send it to you, and they would approve it, or you would send like a rough draft? They say yes, you come back and redo it. How many times do you have to go before something would actually say this is it?
I'll do a pencil,
Pencil.
and then they pick the one. Then I would ink it in, scan it in my computer, and go into Photoshop and add the color and fix it up and add color.
Oh, okay.
And then they would look at it and they say, okay, send it. Then I would send it into editorial, and then it's funny. It's how things progress. We had a little small paste up production room. It was, the union had shrunken down. It's not as powerful, and you could walk in there and talk to the guy that's pasted it together. Yeah, that's it. Okay, this is the editorial cartoon that goes up there. Then that was shot out. So everything was paginated. Each designer had a page, and he would paginate it and do it all on the computer, copy everything. Prior to that, linotype, metal. I mean, I watched all this gradually. In fact, I appreciate now the computer because of what it's done. But at the same time, it's turning around and taking my
Took a job away, yeah.
Yeah, everything has a double, what do you call it? A double-edged sword.
Sure.
Right? It's helping you here, but by the way, it's killing you over here.
Yeah.
But
They're weird.
when you would do an idea, and by time, was there ever times where they would totally just change what you originally started with?
Very
How did
rare.
you feel about that? Just
Very
curious.
rare. In fact, I had several publishers. One guy always wanted to get in there. Hey, how about doing one like this? In fact, it was the time when somebody in Juarez needed medical care, and they would come up to the port, and El Paso would send an ambulance, pick them up, and take them to our. So this boss told me, I'm not gonna mention names. He said, "Okay, do a bridge, Nacho," and there's an ambulance going across the port, and then the lizard would say, "Oh, here comes another." I couldn't say illegal, undocumented patient to our hospitals. And it was
He wanted you to do this.
yeah. He
Got
told
you.
me. He gave me the idea. Okay, I did it, and I sketched it. And good, do it. But not all publishers did that. Not all.
Yeah.
This guy,
That was-
he
probably
liked
got a
it.
lot of
He
flack
liked
for that.
Hey, let's do this.
Yeah.
And then some weeks he wouldn't touch me or anything. I came out with my own, but then he would come over. And sometimes he had some good ideas.
Yeah. How was the reception of that undocumented sketch? Is it?
I didn't hear anything bad.
Oh no.
No.
Oh, okay.
No. In fact, I heard more favorable. It's like, yeah, that's right. That's what's happening. And now with Biden,
Yeah.
they're putting little homes for him.
Ooh, I bet you got a lot of ideas for that.
Coming back to bite. like you say.
If I had a chance,
Yeah, I'm sure.
A whole
I'm sure.
catalog.
Oh, I bet you would have had a great time during
elite-
Trump's
the
administration.
undocumented- yeah. They're what do you call
How's
it?
that sketch coming along, Mr.
Oh man,
Nacho?
slowly. I've been talking too much.
Well, interesting story. In fact, you talked about a storyboard. Maybe you should storyboard your life and your family and pitch it to a movie or something.
Right.
Oh,
The salt wars and stuff. I
the
never
salt
heard of
war,
it.
yeah. Some people have said you ought to write a little book and illustrate it about the history of San Alley and all that.
Yeah.
And
You pretty much watched El Paso
yeah,
grow
yeah. Oh man,
right before your eyes.
I remember areas of El Paso, like where I live. It's down here on George Dieter. All that was all desert.
It was all desert.
It was just jackrabbits. And in fact, we probably came here to hunt for jackrabbits.
Right here.
Probably this area. Yeah. We ended up with lizards, but no jackrabbits.
Yeah.
Those guys are wily guys. I remember my dad. Well, he was a policeman, so he said he bought some 22 rifles. He said, "Let's go jackrabbit hunting." He said, "But you got to go now in the winter because in the summer they get worms in their stomachs."
Oh.
Yeah, in the warm weather they get disease. Interesting. So we'd go hunting, and I remember we'd be running over the sand dunes, and we would shoot these rabbits, and they look at us, they stop, and bah, bah, bah. And I said, "You guys are missing." So then my dad ran after him with his he had a 38 little snub nose, old 38s. He brought it, and he said, "Look what you guys are doing." And he held the rabbit, and the ears had holes in it. Oh, so we were shooting too high, or he was ducking. And the bullets would pierce his ears and all that.
Wow.
But we never got him. So interesting stuff like that.
Did you ever get into, since being a caricature and you could do details about people's faces and stuff, did you ever get into like police sketching since your dad was a...
I did a few, and this is after my dad retired, and they tried me. Here's one. I don't remember a lot of it, but I remember one interesting story. This they have a witness to a murder. Well, she wasn't really a witness to the murder, but she remembers coming out, and there was a Mustang parked up front, and she saw a license plate, but she was so nervous she'd forgotten a lot of it. So they brought in a hypnotist. He hypnotized her.
Wow.
And I was there. We were in a room about this size, and she under the hypnosis, she started to describe the guy.
Wow.
And she read, and she could see the license plate. It was a white Mustang, and she gave, and I would do a Mustang, and then I put the numbers of the license plate, and then a sketch of him. And when I was doing a sketch of him, she said he had long shoulder length hair, he had a little beard, his hair parted in the middle, and he had a slim, long, hooked nose, and then when I was sketching it, the detective says, "That's Jesus Christ."
In a Mustang, all right.
Yeah, right in a white Mustang.
We always thought it was a donkey. It was actually a Mustang. All right.
Well, I don't want to say it. Jesus did.
And when she saw it, was she...
She recognized.
Well, when they brought her out, she still didn't remember a lot of it.
Wow.
Only under hypnosis.
Only under hypnosis.
The shock, I guess, had...
Sure.
So the consciousness had
Exactly.
dampened the...
Put a little blockage.
I don't
on
know
the
if they ever
area.
caught the guy, but they had the license plate, they had the sketch of the Mustang, and they had the sketch of the guy.
Jesus Christ.
So, like, now that you, when you caricature people, what is it that you focus on mostly on when it comes to person? The obvious stuff that you could poke fun at, or
You know what I
features?
like?
just
I like when they wear glasses,
Oh, cool.
Oh,
because I
over-exaggerate.
need a little anchor to
Oh, okay.
cook everything to.
Oh, interesting.
And I like you're going to be easier.
Oh, yeah.
I think. I don't know.
Just a circle.
A little
snowman.
circle with a little glasses.
with glasses.
They're like
little-
Marshmallow Man.
a
You
little-
ever
a
done the
little-
Marshmallow Man?
See what I put up with Nacho?
You're able to
And you're the big brother,
exaggerate
huh?
a lot, no?
Yeah, you probably just look for me. It would probably be the nose. Go for
The nose and the hairline. And
Yeah.
The, and the,
Oh, hairline. There you go.
Yeah.
and the hat and the little mustache. And,
the little. Let's see. You're getting the snow there. Everything.
oh yeah, I got snow all over the place.
And for the most part, when you do stuff like that, do people I would imagine are cool with it, right? You never had anybody say, "Sir."
Yeah.
You know what? I've learned, and I didn't do caricatures until later in my years because I didn't have the self-confidence because I knew, oh shoot, I'm going to draw somebody and they're going to say, that's not me. And then, but it didn't happen. A few women would say, is my nose that big?
Oh, yeah.
I said, okay, this is a caricature.
Yeah.
She goes, take the double chin out. Take the double chin and the bags out so it doesn't look like her anymore, right?
Yeah.
But I remember I did an older lady, and I drew her, and she said, no, that's not me. And the husband said, that's you, honey.
Wow.
And he told her, it's a good thing he was there. That's you.
That's you.
That's
Spot
not
on.
me. You know, people don't see the
Sure.
real self.
Sure.
And it's just like I remember I worked with a lady that was heavy set and older, and she said that she still thought herself as a younger.
Yeah.
And one day she was going downtown and she looked and she caught her image in the window, and she goes, "Who's that fat old lady?
Yeah.
Who's that fat? That's me." You don't really see yourself.
Yeah. It's funny how like it's true how we think of ourselves. I still think I'm
Young.
like 25, and then I see like my classmates and man, they look old. They're saying the same thing about me.
Exactly.
I would laugh about that
Fregado.
lady, but I had the same situation in the elevator. So when I walked in
Yeah.
with the glass mirror elevator, I'm like, I was surrounded by four of me. I was not a pretty sight.
Especially at my age,
It's a
my
life.
body's
It's a
gone.
crossroads right there.
I used to work out and all that, had broad shoulders. Not anymore.
Yeah.
Wow.
And well, I don't want to get into medical terms, but they said men lose their testosterone already in their 30s.
Mm-hmm.
So the broad shoulders are harder to the little pop,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And mine was 40, man. Once I hit 40, man.
Well, you know, you're right. When I hit 40, my back gave out. I had issues with what was it? I forget what it was, but I said, wow, hit 40 and that's it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Everything's
Oh
started-
shoot!
Hit a wall.
Did you
He
go?
just turned 40, so he's gonna
You just
start
turned
feeling
40?
it.
You don't look
Yes.
that old.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, he looks young.
Yeah, you're young.
We'll give him that much, but exaggerate it in the picture, okay?
Yeah, make him look older than what he really is.
Oh.
Any big artists that you looked up to? Norman Rockwell.
Oh yeah, the old guys,
What
Albert
was
Dorn.
the one on TV with the afro?
Oh yeah. You're the
Oh,
Chicano Bob
Bob
Ross.
Yeah, he's
Bob Ross.
yeah he was pretty good. I mean, his technique. He would take
Yeah.
the edge of his palette knife and make a mountain and all that.
Yeah.
I never got into
Talk
that,
real soft.
but
Yeah.
and he died, I think of cancer a few years back.
He's good.
And I think his son is doing
Yeah.
it, but I don't
Oh,
know
is
if
he
he's I don't know if he's popular or he has a program.
But he became kind of like a culture.
Yeah.
I mean,
They're
you
still
see his
running
shirts.
Yeah,
and
the public
yeah.
Very
TVs,
popular.
they still run his shows.
Interesting about him is that I found out he was a drill sergeant. That to me was
Really?
very
Wow.
interesting.
Being so soft spoken.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He said that totally just.
You know, you change with your job and everything. It's funny how, like when my daughter said she wanted to be a teacher, well, she was always kind of impatient. Well, I said, oh, you got to be patient. You have to have patience with these kids. She does it
Yeah.
when she goes to school.
She's in her
she
zone.
has-
There you go.
the patience comes to her, and she helps the students. So I said, well, I guess we do change. Like my dad, when he was the policeman, he had to be tough. And my mom was the soft side, and my dad was the tough side. My mom was gullible, and she had a heart. She felt
Sure.
sorry. My dad said, "No, they're a bunch of crooks." And, blah, blah.
Don't trust anybody.
And that's the side of him that I use.
Yeah.
And now my wife's the one that said, "No, you gotta be kind. You gotta say no." To an extent, you know. 'cause
Sure.
You can't.
So you got a good combination of both.
You get
Yeah,
you
you go.
balance. Yeah, there's a balance. That's why kids that don't have a mom or a dad, I feel sorry for them, because to look up to somebody's missing there,
Yeah.
and I think it affects them.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You got kids, right?
I got 5 kids.
You're there. Yeah. 5 kids.
5 girls.
5 girls.
Hey,
oh
yeah.
man!
That would
Like,
be-
Did you
get
buy
all this stuff?
You
for-
had to buy a shotgun, right? You
Yeah.
sit there and
I
wait.
do. Yeah.
That would be a nice picture, huh?
Gift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Per
not a
head?
bad idea. Yeah.
And you charge per head, so he'd be a pretty good little picture.
You could
Are you charging Carlos?
You're probably a
double?
grandfather, right?
Wow.
I get that a lot.
Do you?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Yeah, you're a grandfather.
Oh, am I a grandfather? No.
No.
I thought you said if I was this guy, because I've had people think I'm their dad. So,
Yeah.
Oh, really?
oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, you know, there are some young dads that.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Nowadays, yes.
My dad was young looking. When we worked at the gas station, he would come and sit with us. And then I remember somebody said, "Oh, your office is full. You got your friends?" I said, "Well, that's my dad." "That's your dad?"
Oh, wow.
You know, he had dark hair. See, I'm in my mid-70s, and I still have some dark.
Yeah.
But he had really dark hair, and they didn't believe that he was my dad.
Yeah. The one time I went to go pick up my nephew from school, and he's probably like in 3rd grade or whatever, and so his friends are like, I'm walking him by the hand, and is that your grandpa?
Oh, well, see,
come on.
you probably got your white hair premature, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It
My
runs in the
dad's very,
family.
very young, yeah.
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 I'm all.
See, I'm lucky in that I got my dad's genes.
You got a good set of hair.
And
huh?
he had good hair and dark,
Yeah.
except for this. He never had a beard, so I don't know. But
Yeah.
And I got a little brother in Albuquerque that's bald-headed.
Ándale.
Complete. He wears a toupee. Well, I shouldn't say that.
oh.
I'm not going to
It's out there.
mention. No, he lives in Albuquerque, so I'm not going to mention names.
Yeah. No.
He's 3 or 4 years younger than me.
Wow.
Yeah.
And he looks at me. He said, "What happened?"
¿Qué pasó? Dame
The luck of the
pelo.
draw. I don't know.
Yeah. Luck of the
This
draw,
show
man.
is nationwide, so he might.
Yeah, right. He wears a toupee and everything.
We'll bring him on the show so he can have a counter.
Yeah.
Comment
Yeah,
about
he can
it.
defend
And he's
himself.
the baby brother. I've got a brother that's a year younger than me. And he's got more white hair, salt and pepper, and I have less. And they say, "What? You paint your hair?" I said, "No, I don't.
All natural,
It's
baby.
the genes. It's in the genes."
That's all it is.
Yeah. And I better not brag because it is getting thinner.
Ahí va.
It is. I used to have a big pompadour, and now it's thinning out.
Yeah.
It's thinning out. It's
Looks
catching
good.
up.
Looks good.
It's
Yeah, it
catching
looks
up
good,
with
man.
me.
It's good.
Yeah. In fact, while I'm combing, I can see some scalp. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Before it was a thick.
Yeah.
Oh, it'll catch up with you.
Just draw it in. Just draw it in.
Yeah, man.
I got the spray.
Have
see
you,
that
ever, have you ever done a caricature of yourself?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But my wife says you make yourself look better than anybody else.
Yeah,
You look better in the caricature than you do in real life.
Yeah.
yeah. Who was your favorite president to draw, as far as cartoon?
Reagan,
Really?
Ronald Reagan.
Nice.
Ronald Reagan.
He's my favorite president.
I did them all. Let's see. Imagine I was in grade school when Eisenhower was in office, and we used to have jokes. Eisenhower tastes sour like Winston tastes sour like Eisenhower, but it was a joke and all that, and I still remember that. And we were in
Ike.
grade
They
school.
would call him Ike.
Ike. He was very popular, and then along comes.
George Bush with the little pointy ears.
Along
and
comes
stuff.
Kennedy, and then Johnson, and then Ford, and then Nixon. All those. I remember all of them. Nixon was fun to draw. Big.
I remember seeing the big
Yeah.
fingers.
I did.
Yeah.
In fact, I did some in acrylics. I was young, and I'd mail them into Playboy magazine and stuff like that. And it's very nice, all that. But we have a staff of artists. Leroy Neiman, very famous artist. He's dead now. He used to do all sports. So I said, no, I'm going to stick around here. And there's a lot of competition. New York Magazine, I would send them one of those little gag cartoons. And, they would send it back and say, well, we have our little, what do they call it? Stock Department of
images.
Artists and all that stuff. The old proverbial thank you, but no
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah.
Or, keep in touch, blah, blah.
Do you
We'll call you, don't call us.
Yes.
do you have to copyright your work, or because you work like for the newspaper, they would automatically do that through themselves, or?
I don't know if officially, but they would tell me to start putting
The C.
the C, copyright,
Circle.
and then
Gotcha.
my name, and then date and all that stuff. But we never had any trouble with
But
it.
officially, they would probably do it on their end.
Yeah,
or-
You're
they
protected under them.
might. They might. I don't. I wasn't involved in that part of it. But it was weird because editorial cartoon was something new. There was a couple here. There's one guy, Drew Litton. He's in Denver now. He was a real famous caricature artist here. Drew Litton even did a book, but he used to concentrate on sports. He did real good sports stuff, and now he'll send in Facebook. He'll post Denver Broncos stuff and all that, and sometimes we converse. But there aren't too many editorial cartoonists in El Paso. I think there was another one. There may be 2 or 3 that I remember that go on and all that stuff.
When was your last? When did you stop working for the El Paso Times? When did you stop doing?
2013,
Oh, okay.
Halloween
okay.
night. I remember that.
Oh wow.
Gotcha.
2013,
Okay.
October 31st.
Yeah. So.
Oh.
So the trick or treat, the trick was on me when they called me in, and I thought about, my God, this is Halloween night.
Oh, they gave you the.
They just hinted. When you
It's time.
retire,
Gotcha.
you got your 401k, you're on Social Security. I was already 68.
Gotcha.
See, and then they hinted, and so I was like, okay, yeah, I'll do it. So I got my little pension, a little 401k, and then they gave me another a little package, and I went out.
Package, little Halloween
Little
candy.
package,
Little
yeah, little
Halloween candy.
baggie of gifts.
Gave me a little dinner and all that stuff, and that's
Okay.
it. That's it.
Wow.
But that was, like I said, that was around. So why did they not decide to take that to like the digital part of it, like to the internet, like on their website and stuff like that? Or
They did.
Or,
They had
oh,
a
they did.
They had
Oh,
a
okay.
website. Yeah. In fact, this is my theory. If you can't beat them, join them. Right?
Yeah.
They were saying, oh, they're getting their news, so they developed a website.
Yeah.
But the mistake they made is instead of being hometown, they were just repeating what they can get on their phone.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Hometown, the website, and then continue caricatures and all that. And I think they did a little bit of that. But everybody said, well, what do I have to pay? Well, I get it free over here.
free, yeah.
It's just like the music industry.
Yeah.
I'm not an expert, but I'm sure a lot of musicians are dying.
Oh yeah.
They put out a record, people can steal it right on the
Yeah.
website.
Sure.
You don't have to pay for a record.
Yeah. They make their money by going out on tour and
So they try to sponsor things.
Yeah.
And they put
Yeah.
logos. But the record industry buying new records, I don't know how they do it for like the Grammys and all. How do they know what the sales are?
Yeah. Well, I know now a lot of them are just like downloads and how much they buy. Like, cause my truck, I just got a new vehicle. There's no CD player.
Oh, there is
No CD player.
Yep.
Oh, they're not coming out with CD
And is that the
players
new
now.
thing?
Yeah,
Pretty much.
everything's digital.
Everything's
Everything's you just put it on your
Bluetooth.
phone. Yeah, it connects to your phone.
And then if you
play
got a
music
computer, you can get a website. You can get links to all that stuff.
Yeah.
Because my son, well, he's in his 40s, and he said, I can get any record, anything on
Yeah,
it,
there you go.
put it,
The full album. Yeah.
and steal it.
Mhm.
And nobody knows.
Yeah.
So the record industry is suffering. The music industry, the newspaper, anything on print. No more encyclopedias.
Pretty
no more
soon.
dictionaries.
I'm sure pretty soon the newspaper will probably dissolve
You
later
know,
on.
I
no?
can't think about any major city without a newspaper. But it
I'm
might
saying
hap-
like in 10, 20 years it might
Oh, it
Maybe
might.
just fade
even
away.
less than that.
It might.
Maybe
It
less.
might. It
Maybe
might.
even less than that.
People laugh.
There's
People
probably
laugh.
your generation when you're because you probably still enjoy reading the newspaper.
I did, and
did.
then I
You
went
got
out,
the internet.
I went out there to
Phone.
get. I went out there to get the newspaper, and it was, but like,
Yeah.
what is-
Yeah.
And they start raising their prices, and my wife said, "Do you still really need this? All right, drop it."
Sure. And then of
And I
course you
hated
can-
to because I grew up watching my dad with his coffee and his paper.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sure your kids probably grew up watching you do the
No,
same.
they stopped right there.
Oh.
They, after me, that was it. The generation, the millennial, not the millennial. What's the
generation.
what's the
X.
40s? The 40-year-olds.
I think I'm X.
X generation.
How old are you?
Generation 43.
43.
Yes.
Yeah, my
And I
son's
believe I'm X.
47, 46, 47.
Yeah, even reading online, I mean, you can always zoom in. People have trouble; they can zoom in, make it bigger. I'm at the point. Sometimes I'm reading a real book, and I catch myself trying to slide up and down on an actual book because I'm so used to.
I see. I don't like that. I hate that. I like to see it right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
you
the
got
other
a
thing.
little-
I did that the other day. I did that the other day myself. I got a picture, like a stand-up picture, and I got it, and I was trying to zoom in.
Well, see, those are the backdrop. But now with with this cell phone, I can shoot a picture of you.
Sure.
Yeah.
Take it home and draw it.
Yeah.
Shoot a picture of you.
Yeah.
See, before,
Convenience. Yeah.
yeah. So there's the one edge side of the sword, and then the other is. So it has a lot of convenience.
Sure.
And then it has.
Drawbacks.
I don't know what you could say, but
Sure.
the shortcomings is that, like for example, signs. Now you probably do vinyl signs and all that.
Yeah.
See, the
Everything-
sign painter's gone.
Gone.
Yeah.
See,
There's
everything. I remember everything. The sign painters, they would do some lettering, beautiful.
Yeah.
You don't need them anymore.
Yeah. There's one. I know there's one guy around town that still goes around and
Really?
they still get them.
Advertises,
Yeah. He goes and does the Merry Christmas and the candy canes and all that. But he's probably the last one.
How did you guys get into signs?
Our dad was a sign painter
Sign
by
painter.
hand.
That's
yeah.
why you told me.
He would.
Did you ever know the Jimenez family? Luis Jimenez and all those guys.
I don't think
They
so.
they would do the neon signs.
Gotcha.
Their son Luis is a famous artist that died. He started to do statues in fiberglass, with
Oh, wow.
neon. He had some famous. Well, the alligators that are
Okay.
downtown.
Uh-huh.
The sketch. That's a Luis Jimenez statue.
Oh, okay.
He was with his dad doing
Sculpture.
The neon.
neon.
Like the blowing, the
blowing
bending, the
tubes
bending the
and
glass,
putting the
yeah.
light, the
Uh-huh.
plasma, the lights. And then he said, I'm going to get fiberglass and I'm going to do art. I'm going to do sculptures. That's how he developed from there.
Wow, that's a huge.
You know how he dies?
Yeah.
He's doing a huge horse for Denver.
The
Right?
Bronco.
Giant Bronco.
Nice.
The leg, everything was in pieces, got loose, came around and killed him, hit him. Oh, wow. He died. Dude.
His own artwork.
His own artwork.
Wow.
They call it the devil horse because he's got eyes that are red. And nobody wanted it, but I think somebody
It
bought
stayed
it.
like that.
It's huge. It's maybe 30 feet tall. But everything was
Piece. It
parts.
had to have been
And
piece.
they said
yeah.
one of the legs got loose and it swung around. And
Oh man.
so he died by his own,
By his own
By his own work.
suicide.
creation.
Is that considered
Creation.
suicide? Just kidding.
Has anybody ever? I'm curious. Have you ever seen somebody that has captured your attention paint wise that you might have seen on the street, and you go home and paint them because there was something about that person.
yeah,
that just
inspired to go home and do
Yeah.
that? No, not really.
not really.
You may be the first.
Yeah, I'm busy talking. I'm having fun talking.
No, this is good. It's, well, that's
No,
what
I love hearing your stories.
As I
That's
told you,
great.
this is the idea about talking about people behind what they do and why they do it. So obviously you love to draw.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course you do any event. If people hire you for birthdays,
I've
whatever.
gotten some calls now. I've got a wedding in La Viña,
Nice.
and I'm doing Colorado High School graduation party
Fun.
at the country club, El Paso Country Club, in June, and then this wedding in May. I used to get a lot of it, and it slowed down for this year.
Gotcha.
That's what I'm saying. I got to get back into the.
Got you.
I've got to get back into the thing here.
So if somebody wants to get a hold of you for like weddings or for
Yeah.
party or stuff like that, how can they get a hold of you?
Okay, I'm on Facebook, and I'm on LinkedIn, and I'm on
Nice.
Instagram, and I'm on
Wow.
Twitter.
Yeah. Okay.
Except with Twitter, you got to have followers.
Yeah.
Not everybody can see you. Right?
Correct.
And if you're followed by a lot of
Correct.
people, hopefully that has a.
Yeah.
But Facebook is the biggest thing.
Gotcha.
Nacho Garcia Jr.
Nacho Garcia.
We'll put all your information on screen so people can check you
Yeah,
out. Definitely.
Natrodamus. Can we?
Natrodamus, that's our new name for you, the prophet.
Natrodamus.
Natrodamus.
Oh,
That's
that's
when you
good.
predicted the online schooling. Natrodamus.
Natrodamus, yeah.
Yeah, and I told my son, I predicted no more actors. Real actors, they could CG, computer graphics.
Yeah, but they do need their voice, or they need somebody's voice.
They might be able to.
That's already
Hey,
happening.
that's true.
That's already happening.
That's
huh?
true.
I
That is
predict
true.
that
That
in
is
the-
true.
We're going to go to movies that all,
Nostradamus.
it's going to be all CG.
Yeah.
They can create cities that are destroyed by tidal waves. They don't need to.
Oh,
They don't need prop people.
Yeah.
They don't need landscape artists. All that's gone.
Yeah.
The computer's taking it all. In fact, we might be marrying robots, androids. Remember,
Special order, how you want it
I
to
just
look.
Special order?
Japan has really got into it. They got maids,
Yeah.
robot maids that do things for
They don't talk back.
everybody.
They
We're all
take
going to be
orders.
replaced.
They don't talk about it.
We're all
Watch
going to we're all going to be replaced.
You can order them however you want.
Yeah.
Deaf, mute.
Definitely.
You can,
yeah.
but remember, everything comes double edged.
Oh, yeah.
Something will come back.
Sure.
We can't have it all.
Yeah. Eventually, the robots will be divorcing the humans.
They will take
Taking half.
they will take over. They'll be protesting. The robots. The robots want their fair share. Yeah, everything's gonna turn. Cars.
We'll put all your information on the on
Yeah, we
on
want
the
people
screen
to-
and stuff. So
okay.
they can
And we'll
get a
be
hold of
revealing
you.
this. So I'm not sure how far along he is, but
Yeah,
we'll
it'll
have
be
that
on
to
the-
show.
it'll
Oh,
be
you'll
on the
probably
show.
get some guys. That guy's full of. Oh, I better not say that.
He wasn't
You
even
know-
drawing.
I remember him from the
He was talking.
newspaper.
He's doing his shopping list.
He's got bigger mouth than he does art.
Yeah, we'll always we'll reveal it at the end.
Yeah,
definitely.
We'll reveal it.
Want to hang it in here too and put your card if you have a card, and we'll put it there and
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
spread the
Put
word
your-
about
Just
Nacho.
before I forget,
Yeah.
let me- I was running out. I got some new ones printed here. Oh, where did I do it?
Uh-oh.
Oh. Where's my cards? Ah, here we go.
Okay, cool. Perfect.
Cool. Yeah, we'll
Oh, there you
we'll
go.
hang them here.
Now, don't stare at that face because you'll have a nightmare tonight.
Wow. Look at
Cool.
that.
Cool. Thank you, Nacho, for
Okay.
joining us. The legendary Nacho Garcia
Yes, sir.
from El
Thanks for
Paso,
joining us,
born and
man. Great
raised.
stories.
Yes, thank you.
Born and raised and probably buried here somewhere. Except I think
Hopefully
I
not soon. Hopefully
I told my
not
wife
soon.
to cut the cost at a funeral. I'll donate my whole body to science, and they just take it.
Oh, well.
You save money.
There you go.
But then some people are operating on your body there. You may not want it. I don't know. It's up to you.
Yeah, hopefully not anytime soon. though.
No,
Anytime
no,
soon,
not-
Nacho.
not-
Thanks for coming along, joining us.
yeah.
Thank you.
He's going to stick around, finish his drawing up.
I'm
We'll
going to
show it
finish
you guys
this
in a
drawing.
few.
I can stop talking long enough to draw, right?
We are the SignBroCast. Make sure to subscribe on the link below. We're all up in your business, and we're signing off.
Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Time Rose is the place where we make a sign.